Let's go right to the library. I see Andrew Biggs waiting for me. Hello, Andrew. How are you, sir?
Christopher, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. So you are you in D.C. or are you in Arizona right now?
I'm in Arizona right now.
See, now I know this. You know why? Because you have a brown bookcase in the back. We've learned that white bookcases are D.C. related. Brown bookcases or any other state of the union. I don't know why. Every think tank or congressperson we talk to that's in D.C. white bookcase. So it's true. Good job, buddy.
It comes with the frame. It comes with the building, right? like the picture. It came with a frame, man.
I want to talk about, of course, the governor's race, but we're in the middle of. It's our running joke now. September rolls around. Pumpkin spice latte, some apple cider donuts. The leaves are falling in the mountains a little bit and turning, and then Congress plays CR games and all this horse crap. So, welcome to fall, Andrew Biggs.
Yeah, and you want to know what, Chris? Here's the crazy thing about this. In the last 10, 15 years, you probably have had, I think it's 45, 47 CRs. If you grok this thing, you'll see that there's an average of 5 CRs per year over the last 20 years. Now that's absurd, but I'm going to give you just a little bit of a fun fact. I usually give a little trivia memento when I do an event, and I ask this. So there's a law that Congress is supposed to get 12 budget bills to the Senate by June 30th every year. Senate's supposed to have their version done by July 31st. You have conference committees, and you're done so that when the fiscal year ends in September 30th, you're good to go, and you have a nice budget, right? That's called the Budget Control and Impound Act of 1972.
We won't hold.
Yeah, I think it's 72. But here's the kicker. When was the last year that Congress actually complied with the Budget Control and Impound Act timeframe, budgeting, and everything?
1981.
You're such an optimist.
What's the year, Andy?
It's 74. Yeah, and the last year that Congress had a balanced budget was probably in the late 90s.
So what has happened to the culture of Congress that you guys can't? This is a big question. What has happened to the culture of Congress over the decades that this is now acceptable behavior?
In my mind, it is you kind of got the swamp. Like the appropriators want to keep their appropriation thing, but they don't really want to do it because it actually there's accountability, right? So all of this is to avoid accountability, and this is the first time this year, right? This is the first time that I have voted for CRs, and I voted for them because when you think about, first of all, the first one we were just ostensibly doing so we can get the reconciliation process going. But the second one, this most recent one, is because this is the first time ever that a CR has been the lowest spending option because the Republican appropriators in the House and the Senate have proposed budget spending that exceeds the CR. If you can believe that.
So I understand about protecting the appropriators and those games, right? But why can't we just do it on time, right? Everyone's gonna. I understand the pork. I understand all of that jazz. But can't you just do your pork by June 30th and then July 31st? Can we just do that? Why can't we do that? I have a very insidious theory about it, but I want to hear. I want to hear your take on that. Why can't we get it done when we're supposed to?
Well, because I don't want to say bad things about people Um, but I would just say that that we haven't had a leader in a long time that has insisted that this get done. This the leadership controls so much, but they play these funny, weird games that they think are strategic. So their strategy is this, where we need to have a deadline, and if we have a deadline, then people will respond. Well, and I've told them, well, the deadline is June 30th, right? I mean, that is how about that for a deadline? And they're like, well, we got to take care of this, we got to take care of that. There is nothing more important than the budget. The budget is in a bipartisan fashion for 30 years. Uh, uh, you've had the DNIs, you've had secretaries of defense, you've had cabinet officials all come out and say that the most existential threat to the United States is our deficit spending and our budget, our national debt. That would seem to me to be the most important focus then perhaps um, in getting that done and adhering to the deadlines. Like I said, you have a deadline by June 30th, and the Senate would have a deadline, but they choose this deadline, September 30th, because who knows why? Because
What
they think that's a more effective one.
when was the last time in the last 30, 40 years? What was the last best leadership combo of speaker and Senate majority leader that would get this, in your opinion, that was getting this kind of basic governance, that crazy basic governance of Congress done? What was the last best leadership duo? Are we going back to Newt?
Well,
Are we going back to Newt?
yeah, that's exactly where I was going because that's the last time you had a balanced budget. Was when Newt was the speaker, and whoever I think was it Tom DeLay or some I can't remember who the Senate president was, but
Right.
but they actually produced a balanced budget. Now they didn't do it forever, but they did it for a short period of time, and oddly enough, the president was Bill Clinton. So you can work across the aisle, you can do it, but even Hillary Clinton at that time, they were not radical leftist Marxian proto Marxians. They were pragmatic, and Bill Clinton understood pretty clearly that a balanced budget was a requirement. Bill Clinton signed a welfare reform package that had all the things that our really recent proposals had, which is work. You have to work to get it. You can't make too much money. And we want to encourage families as opposed to, single parent homes. Bill Clinton understood that. Hillary Clinton understood that. But now things are vastly different.
My insidious theory on this is both sides who participate in the chicanery here. When we get to this area, right now, all of a sudden it becomes a fundraising PR orgy for them, right? Because
Oh,
they need to go out on Fox or CNN, depending on their party, email everyone and say, "I'm holding the line against this Hitler, Trump, and his fascist buddies." Am I too pessimistic, Andy, on thinking that's part of the culture of the Congress right now?
no, and I think what fuels that is social media. Like I think you're exactly right because when Newt and company and Clinton and all they produced the balanced budget, you didn't have, you did not have. I mean, they did their contract with America with Reader's Digest, if you remember that. That's where they inserted in Reader's Digest, which has gone the way of the dodo, effectively. I guess I don't know where it is. I haven't seen it in years, but the reality is, clicks make money and they get you famous. And what draws clicks? Controversy, being out there and being wild and radicalized. And I would say that's one thing. The other thing is the institution of all the institutions have been captured, but certainly the universities have been captured, and they've been indoctrinating with kind of this weird dogma of like what we were talking about, proto-Marxianism, And so you got that dogma going on, and then you couple that with a flaming, um, the flaming gas type of inferno that social media is. And I think, yeah, they use it to raise money, they use it to get famous, they use it to get power, all those things.
Well, and then the whatever's left of the mainstream media, they just keep doing the same bad mistakes of the past, right?
Right.
No one's listening to them. The Gallup poll just came out that I think it's 72% of Americans don't trust the mainstream media anymore, but they keep going back to the same old talking points. So, and they'll
Yeah. Well, that's why your voice is important, and that's why people are going to alternative media. I mean, if you ask um, anybody under 40 where they get their news, they're going to tell you something probably other than uh, either Fox or CNN. They just are. If they're over 40, I mean, when I go to events and I'm talking to people that demographic over 40, they'll say this Fox or Newsmax or Real America's Voice. Someone told me last night. The point is, it is a generational shift that's taken place, and that's why people like yourself, how about people like Charlie Kirk, were so incredibly effective because they understood the media,
Yep.
the change in media, and they understood how to communicate, and they went directly to the people, and that's really what all this is. Is quite frankly, I hate to use this term, but it's the democratization of communications in the
Yep.
country.
And that's why Charlie couldn't be tolerated, right? Because he was in the middle of their campuses, right, having open dialogue, and he was winning this thing, which is the phone,
That's
right?
right.
He was winning the video of how many people that found out after Charlie was murdered that their kids were all of a sudden their kids are Charlie Kirk heads. They didn't even know it.
Right. And what was Charlie's message? Charlie had three messages, and they were all basically restoration and revival. I mean, he was anti 1619 project. Said this country was the greatest country in the history of the earth. You got to acknowledge that. He was, and the basis for that was the Constitution, and you got to acknowledge that, and that was divinely inspired. And the third thing was that there's something bigger than you. It's God, and you got to grow up. If you're a boy, grow up and be a man. Take charge. Become a father and husband. Get married. Women the same. Let's have families and restore America and faith in God. And good grief, we're seeing a revival right now.
You are correct.
Revival right now.
So I hear you're running for governor.
You just onto that, Chris? Or you just...
I'm trying to remember the last time we talked if you had declared, but maybe you did. So again, so now we have an interesting three-way thing going on in the world of the Arizona primary between you, David, and KTR. So give me the Andy Biggs analysis of where we're at in this Republican primary and where it's going to head, and why you're the best of the three.
So okay, thanks. That's a loaded question. I can talk about that for a long time.
Questions, Andy Biggs.
Yeah. So here we go. The polling is really solid for me right now, and I'm way up. I've been all over the state, and that's good. I have got a lot of good name ID, a lot of big support, a lot of momentum behind me. All of that's good for the campaign side. Then the other thing, I mean, we could talk about public safety and what we need to do for public safety. We can talk about the economy, what has to be done for the economy. Regulation, tax relief, all of that has to take place. We can talk about how we have to manage our water better. But the bottom line, and because I have a plan for all those, and I talk about them normally when we have more time, very specifically. And I think that's what I bring to the table is a vision of very specific steps that we need to take to restore this state to one that should be pro-growth, and we can succeed. But here's the kicker, and it is a long record of conservative leadership in the state. Whether when I was in the state Senate, I was the Senate president or the majority leader. When I was in the U.S. House, I became the chairman of the Freedom Caucus. I've led the Border Security Task Force. people can see exactly that I tell you what I'm going to do and I do it, which is why ultimately, Chris, that President Donald Trump has endorsed me. It's why Charlie Kirk endorsed me. It's why TPUSA has endorsed me. It's why more than 24 current and former members of the legislature endorsed me. It's because not only do I have a vision on policy, but I also know how to do it. And when I talk to legislators about how we will do this and how we will collaborate and get this done and move this along very quickly, they get very excited. They get very excited because they haven't had that. And and so on day one, when I'm elected, the next day you got a new Senate president, you got a new speaker, you got new leadership. We'll be reviewing all of the vetoes that the governor has. We already know what those are. Those are bills, many of them that we want to have brought back up, and we know how to do it, and we will do it. And so that in January, 2 months later, when I'm sworn in, the committees will be meeting that first day, and they will start pushing these bills through, so that by the end of the first week, Chris, we're going to be signing the election integrity bill. I'll be signing the election integrity bill. We'll be signing the bill that says no CCP land ownership in Arizona. We'll be doing the 21 rural water bills that this governor's vetoed. We'll be doing the Education Choice Protection Act that this governor vetoed. There's a whole host of the things that this governor has vetoed that by the end of the first week, we'll already have that stuff through the House and Senate and on my desk as governor. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to go, and we're going to change the direction. This state should be a red state. I think it is a red state. We just don't have the leadership that corresponds to what we are.
We're talking to Andy Biggs, of course, U.S. Congressman and governor candidate. And this is for everyone who's listening on the Live the Dream Media app on your Apple or Android. If you're watching on video, hopefully you can read. It says Andy Biggs. Now,
which, by the way, that's something else we want, Chris. We want to graduate from high school people who can read, and we're gonna get back to that, right? I mean, we want them to read and be able to do math and fulfill the measure of their creation and flourish in this state. And that's what we want.
That's my number one priority for just society right now, is learn how to read. I'm down to Maslow's hierarchy of needs right now, Andy. That's when we're at. Walk out your door without getting shot, especially down in Tucson, and learn how to read. That's my political priorities right now. Tell me about
public safety and education.
So tell me about you were talking about the perception that Arizona is a purple state, but it's really a red state, right? And again, so what happens in some of these races that we've seen, these statewide races, where, for God's sakes, we have Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly as our senators right now, and Katie Hobbs is our governor, for God's sakes. So what I have my take, but I want to hear your take. You're the guest. So why do you think we've lost these statewide races, which makes us look like a purple state, even though you said a couple minutes ago we're a red state? Where does that come from, Andy?
Well, part and parcel of it is we chew each other up. Republicans chew each other up, and Democrats clear their field. And so I'm up 35, 40 points in the primary, but I've got two primary opponents. I don't focus on the primary opponents because I'm going to need every Republican vote. I'm focusing on Katie Hobbs, how she has screwed the state up, and what I can do to make it better. And so, in my opinion, we tend to eat our own. We shouldn't do that. If you're going to run against me and you're going to trash me, fine. That's your prerogative. Welcome to it. But in the end, I will not play that game, because what I'm looking at is, what do we need? I think I have what we need as a state, and we're going to take it there. Now, the other thing about it, Chris, is how I know that we're really a red state. Last election in 2024, because we turned out a lot, 300,000 plus low propensity Republican voters, Donald Trump won. We won every statewide office that was on there except for to Ruben Gallego, and we might have had
why did we lose? It's such amazing, right? So Trump wins. Carrie, who attached herself to Trump, loses the Gallego. How does that happen? What's your analysis of how that went down?
We had an undervote, and even then she lost by what, 17,000 votes, very very close, and we had undervotes in different places, uh, and and I don't think we're going to see that anymore. I think that as long as we keep turning our votes out, our voters out, we win. We've now gone from a 4% voter registration advantage to 8%.
So the scary part is, I think that with that is the voters have seen that they will vote for a Donald Trump, but not a candidate that they don't dig. And she was we lost her mind as a party that she elevated twice to the two things that we did, and that she ran for governor and then Senate, and then we lost it. I mean, but that's what happened, right? An undervote. How does that happen? I mean, think about that. The Arizona voter literally voted for Trump and then left the next one blank, or voted for Gallego. That's insane. And so I know that all three of you will be better than Carrie Lake as a statewide candidate. So I don't have that issue as much, but that's what, to me, that's what happened there. It's quality of candidate.
Well, you have it. Again, I'm not going to
Yeah,
criticize anybody there. It's just that you had an undervote. Um, that was interesting because if you look, we picked up corpcom seats. We expanded the state legislature. Our majorities in the state legislature. Maricopa County, uh, we had a clean sweep in the county supervisors. You have a brand new elected official county recorder in Justin Heat, and that was not an anomaly throughout the rest of the state, but um, you know, so even with your assertion, let's just take your assertion, and I'm not again, I'm staying out of this, but even then, um, Kerry came within what 15-20,000 votes of knocking off Gallego. And the other thing, the thing that is part and parcel to that too is never forget that Gallegos was up on TV in January of 2024, and it was all of a sudden he's a family man,
sure.
he's this moderate border hawk, and they basically rebuilt him for 10 months. In the meantime, we had as we do, we had primaries going on, and a
But
fight.
times
So
someone could raise money and someone couldn't raise money. So
right,
my
yeah.
crocodile
Well, and
tears
that's
on for Kerry not raising money are large. So
yeah, that's the other aspect to it too is, um, but when you don't have a primary, and all you can do, and you've got the national big money, and Ruben was going to kind of like Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs has over $5 million in her account, cash on hand supposedly, and she's going to Nantucket and New York and Newport Beach and Chicago, anywhere there's that you have a bunch of rich, crazy leftists, and she goes, and this has been designated the number one Democrat Governors Association hold, and also the DNC hold is for governor is Katie Hobbs. They know she's incredibly vulnerable. They know she hasn't done a really particularly good job, but she's a leftist the way they want a leftist to be, and they're going to try to Bidenize her again, which basically you just kind of hide her away because to hear her speak is to say maybe I should vote Republican, and so that's that's what happened I think, and so there's a lot more money. And when you primary, think about this: I'm out there raising money, and I know my opponents will be out there raising money. Um, but here's the deal: um, they're raising money, we're all raising money. We have to spend it in a primary. Katie Hobbs just sits there on 5 million, 6, 7, and $8 million as she grows it, and that's the issue, my friend. Is can I? And that's why I'm focusing on Katie Hobbs because I want to have money, so I'm up on TV just like she is the day after I win the primary.
all right, I got two more questions, one for me and one for Monica in the live chats right now. So one of the perceived challenges for Andy is you've been in a pretty safe district for Congress, and you have to appeal to an entire state, and you're going to have to bring in some independent voters possibly to make this happen. So what's the how does Andy? I don't know if it's a pivot. Do you? How does that look? I guess because again, you're a Freedom Caucus guy. You've been pretty hardcore conservative, which is one of the reasons we like Andy Biggs. How does that look like running statewide?
Well, I think what running statewide is when people start looking at my record and realize that not only am I conservative, but I'm very pragmatic. There's a reason why when I left the state Senate as the Senate president, we not only had a balanced budget, but every Democrat in the state Senate applauded me. And if you take a look, they'll say he was the best Senate president. He was easy to work with. He was transparent. He was open. And I think that's what happens is people respond to that. That if you're open, you're transparent, you tell them what you're going to do, and you do it. Even when you disagree, you're not disagreeable. And for the most part, I try to think that that's the case with me. But I will just tell you this too: the fact that so many independents and Democrats are now moving to the Republican Party, that's incredibly helpful as well.
All right, my question for Monica, and then let you get on your day. Monica wants to know, Andy, what could you do to, if you become governor, to try to, because she's worried about Tucson, Pima County has become such a crime-ridden crap hole. Is there anything that you can do from the governor's position to help people down here who are trying to make things a little better?
Yeah, we have to incentivize your local officials and your local county attorney to actually prosecute cases and put people behind bars. And we will end cashless bail. There cannot be cashless bail in the state. Cashless bail is one of the most dangerous policies that the left has used, and it's produced a wide amount of crime everywhere. So we're gonna use all of our tools, which includes legislation, which means that I will sign and we will push through the like a 287G bill that Katie Hobbs vetoed. We'll make sure that there is no cashless bail. We'll make sure that the county attorneys are actually prosecuting cases. Look, a few years back, on the day of my mother's funeral, somebody broke into my car at the hotel we were staying at. I call up and I say, look, I'd like to report that my car was vandalized. And they say, well, yeah, go ahead and enter that into go online, enter it in. And I said, well, is a police officer going to come out? No, we don't need to come out. We're just going to do that. You have to make sure that there's resources there.
This was in Tucson.
Huh?
This was in
Tucson. That was Tucson.
Okay.
That was in Tucson. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure there's resources there and incentivize good behavior, disincentivize bad behavior, and there are times that the state might just have to step in and say, enough's enough. We have to protect the citizens and make sure that rights are protected. That's the number one job of government, is to protect the rights of citizens. And that means that you adhere to the rule of law. You fail to adhere to the rule of law, and maybe the state needs to step in.
Andy, what's the website for the governor campaign so people can, I assume, sign petitions, donate? Where do they go?
BiggsForArizona.com. BiggsForArizona.com.
That's
everything's spelled out.
For you rookies out there, BiggsForArizona.com. Awesome.
That's
all right,
good.
Well, good talking to you, and good luck in everything. And enjoy that government shutdown. You guys, Congress is killing it. So,
literally killing it, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
Thanks, Chris. You too.
Andy Biggs, Congressman, Governor candidate. When we come back from break, Matt Beinberg from Goldwater's here. We're going to be going deep on some education stuff statewide. So you're on the Live the Dream Media Network. Christopher DeSimone, Shay, and Ron on the box. Ron's going to be on in an hour. He's got University of Arizona running back, Mr. I forgot his name. Let's come back though.